So then give it one more second here. Okay, so I will probably be using some different props. If you have extra props on top of what I use, that is fine. Go for it. And I think we got it. Okay, so nobody's giving me suggestions so far, though that could be Facebook. Good morning. Okay. Because they took away 2 buttons this morning, so you never know what they're doing next. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a little bit of everything, and whatever comes to me will come to me. Maybe I'll like feel you out in the universe and realize that you need something extra. Just kidding. Okay, so here we go. Let's go to the top of a mat. Take your feet about hips distance apart. Roll your shoulders onto your back. Stretch your fingers toward the ground. Zip up your low belly a little bit. Pay attention to what's going on in your back. So you may need a little bit at the tailbone dropping down. You may need a little bit more curve in the back. Find something that feels neutral. And then take the arms up on the inhale. And we're going to go a little bit more dynamically today on this one. So I'll change directions a little bit just so you can see. So you're going to lift up nice and tall and exhale to the right-hand side. Take a couple breaths here. Then inhale on the next one and go to the left-hand side. Couple deep breaths here. All right, on your next inhale, come up, and on the exhale, go to the right. And then on the next inhale, come up, and exhale to your left. And you're just gonna go back and forth, lifting on the inhale, exhaling to the side. As you go from side to side, imagine you're getting a little bit taller each time, like you're drawing slowly circles or rainbows that are getting just slightly higher and slightly higher. So keep grounding into the ground with your legs, with your feet. And each time you inhale, see if you can lift your spine up out of your hips a little bit more. Do about 3 more to each side. All right, come back to the center, and then exhale, release the arms and do a couple big shoulder rolls, both directions. Make sure there's no tension built up in the shoulders. All right, let's go for a sun salutation. So take the arms up on the inhale and look up toward the thumbs. Exhale, hinge the hips and fold. Inhale, stretch forward and look forward. Exhale, fold again. So we're going to do a variation of a standing sun salutation here, just in case you're not moving really quickly this morning. So as you inhale, you're going to bend the knees and take the arms up. And then exhale, bend the knees a little bit more and reach the arms back. And then you can start straightening a little bit with the legs. Arms up on the inhale. Don't go fully straight. Exhale, sink down, reach your arms back. So we're going to add to the sun salutation. But if this is feeling pretty good right now, stick with this. You can always add in more sun salutation later. And this will get the blood moving. All right, you can keep doing this or go into a full sun salutation. Plant the hands on the ground, step back. Press forward, lift your chin, lower down halfway. You can always drop the knees. Inhale, tops the feet, and exhale, downward dog. All right, once you're in down dog, walk it out a little bit. Relax your neck, shake out your head, nod your head. Check out the backs of the legs, see how they're feeling. They may feel a little tight. It may be more calves and Achilles tendon than hamstrings, either way. Just check in and see where the stiffness is. And look up. Inhale, step forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, take it to the sky. And exhale, arms to the sides. Again, you can do that standing sun salutation, or go through the full one. Inhale up, exhale fold, inhale stretch forward, exhale step back. Press forward, lift your chin, lower down halfway, taps the feet, inhale, exhale downward dog. Again, walk it out a little bit. If it's your shoulders that are feeling really tight, there's a good chance you need to bend your knees a little bit. Roll the shoulders onto your back. Squeeze your forearms toward each other. Pretend you have a block between your forearms and you're squeezing in, and that'll give you a little bit more space in the shoulder sockets. And look up. Inhale, step forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, take it to the sky. And exhale, arms to the sides. All right, big toes together, heels slightly apart. Take the arms up on the inhale. Sink back into Utkatasana. If you've got tight shoulders, you may need to separate the arms. Try to pull the arms back in line with the ears so you get a little bit more back muscle doing the work here. If you're a little looser in the shoulders, try to bring the palms of your hands together. Keep dropping the shoulders down your back and look up towards your thumbs. And big exhale, fold forward. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step back. Press forward, lift your chin, lower down. Tops the feet, inhale. And exhale, downward dog. Right leg lunges. Warrior one, take it up. All right, press into the outer edge of your back foot. Drop the shoulders, look up toward the thumbs. Lift your front hip points a little bit. Squeeze your inner thighs toward each other as if there's a block between your thighs. All right, big exhale, take the hands down to the ground. Step your right leg back, press forward, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Left leg lunges. Inhale, come up. Again, press into the outer edge of your back foot, try to lift the inner arch. Lift your front hip points, drop your shoulders, look up. Squeeze your inner thighs together. Big breaths. And we're going to go a little bit deeper on this next one, so we're going to lunge one more time on each leg. See if we can get a little wider between the legs. Exhale, hands to the ground, step back. Press forward, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. All right, right leg lunges again. Then slide your back foot back a little bit, get a little bit more space between the feet, and then come up again. So slightly deeper here. Let the hips sink a little bit even as you drag your feet toward each other and your inner thighs toward each other. All right, exhale, take the hands down the ground. Try to step your right leg back rather than drag it back. Press forward, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Left leg lunges. Take your time, and then slide that right foot back a little bit more, put a little bit more space between the feet, and then come up for warrior one. Drag your feet toward each other a little bit. That'll help you lift your front hip points. And exhale, take the hands down the ground. See if you can lift the foot up and step it back. Press forward, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. So anytime you're in down dog, and let's say your wrists are getting a little grumpy, or you see a little break, maybe you're not breathing very well, child's pose is great. So always recognize that child's pose is a fantastic posture. It gets a nice big stretch through your back and through your shoulders, just like down dog. So breathe deeply, figure out where you need to be. See if you can roll those shoulders onto your back, lengthen out your neck. And look up. Inhale, step forward, big toes touching. Exhale, fold. Utkatasana, sink down, take the arms up. And then let's go for a little twist here. Sink down a little bit deeper and then twist to your right and hook that left elbow to the outside of your right leg. So from here, breathe deeply, zip up your low belly, tack your left hip crease back. Just notice if your left knee is popping forward. If it is, tack it back a little bit more. You can even play around a little bit with this posture. If you're deep enough, you can try to extend your arms. Don't forget to breathe. All right, let's go for the other side. Inhale, take it up. And exhale, sink down and twist to your left. Take that right arm to the outside of your leg or as close as you can get it. Drop your hips a little bit. Zip up the belly. Again, if your right knee's popping forward, try to tack your right hip crease back a little bit. Twists are really hard to breathe in, so make sure you're focusing on your breath. All right, and then take it up on the inhale. And exhale, arms to the sides. And just check in, see if you feel warmer. You're starting to wake up a little bit. Take about 2 more big breaths. And take the arms up on the inhale, look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step your left leg back. Drop your back knee. All right, doing more sagittal play here. Quadriceps and hamstrings, groin. Take the arms up. Drop your shoulders. Drag to the midline. Little back bend. And big exhale. Hands down the ground, step back. Lift your left leg toward the sky. Roll your inner left thigh toward the sky. Flex your left toes toward your face. See if you can get a little bit of a lift in your right hip crease as you drop your right heel down. If that's too much stretch behind the back right knee, bend the right knee a little bit. All right, look up, bring that left knee forward into your chest and step it forward. And then drop your back knee. Take your time getting here. Open up the shoulders, interlace the fingers. If you're really tight in the shoulders, you're gonna press your fist forward into your hips and drop your shoulders a little bit, so it'll open up the fronts of the shoulders. If you're a little bit more flexible, you can start stretching your fist down, drawing the shoulders down your back. And then if you're really flexible and you're already loose in the shoulders, which is not likely this early in the morning, you can take your arms away from your hips a little bit as you draw your shoulders down. All right, exhale, take the hands down the ground. Step your right leg forward. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Inhale, take it up. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, right leg back. Drop your back knee. All right, drag to the midline, take your arms up. Little bitty back bend. Remember, big breaths. And big exhale. Take the hands down, step back, lift your right leg toward the sky. Take 5 breaths here. Flex your toes. See if you can drop your left heel a little bit and lift your left hip crease a little bit, but you may want to bend your left knee as well. All right, bring that right knee up into your chest and step it forward. Take your time. Drop your back knee, interlace the fingers, go for the non-dominant grip with the other thumb and first finger on top. And then drop those shoulders, maybe press your fist forward into your hips. Try to get the shoulders down the back. All right, and then release. Hands to the ground. Step your left leg forward. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, arms to the sides. All right, let's do another one of these. Arms up on the inhale, look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step your left leg back. Drop your back knee. All right, a little bit more of an open twist in the groin. So bring your hands to the inside of your right leg. Drag your left knee and your right foot toward each other, but then you're gonna walk yourself off of the mat. So the legs do the same. You're gonna walk your torso to the left, to the top left corner, and then drop your right rib cage and lift your left rib cage. A little bit of a twist. All right, walking back to the center, and then use your blocks on this one. Just want to get a little bit more into the hamstrings. Shift your weight back so that your hips are over your left knee. Flex your right toes back and drag your right heel back toward you. So you're essentially pulling your right leg back into your hip socket, and then do a little forward bend here. And you do have more than one hamstring. So if you want to turn your toes in a little bit and turn your toes out a little bit, then you can kind of move through the back of the leg as you drag your heel back. All right, coming back to center, neutral place, and then step your right leg back. Lift your left leg toward the sky, open up the hip. Right shoulder's gonna lift up so your shoulders stay level. Bend your left knee. Keep trying to lift your left knee so you start feeling your outer left hip muscles, your gluteus medius and minimus doing some work here. There's a little bit of a groin stretch as well. All right, you can stay here. If you'd like to flip your dog into a little back bend, you can. Lift your right heel up high, pivot your toes to the left, bend your right leg a little bit. That left leg's gonna start feeling heavy. Bring it over, and then you're gonna look at your left hand. Your right hand is going to essentially screw into the ground clockwise toward the pinky finger. All right, flip it back over again. And lunge your left leg forward. All right, high lunge. Come up into our high lunge. We're gonna try for a warrior three. So take your weight into your left leg, and then as appropriate, start hinging at the hip. So this is a great warrior three here. So is this. As you get more comfortable with the posture, you start hinging at the hips more. It's more of a hamstring stretch. Zip up that low belly. If you need better arms for balance, arms out to the sides are great. Arms behind you is a good shoulder opener, so you can play with it. All right, we're gonna try to count to standing. So bend the standing leg a little bit. Inhale, take it up. And then exhale, fold forward. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step your right leg back. Drop your back knee. All right, once you're here, drag your left heel and right knee toward each other. Bring your arms to the inside of your left leg, and then start walking your hands over to the right corner. Then just a little twist. Lift your right arm, your right rib cage up, and drop your left rib cage a little bit. And then you start feeling your back a little bit more and your hips a little bit more. Breathe deeply. All right, walk it back to the center. Then you're going to shift your weight back so that your hips are over your right knee. Use your blocks if you'd like. Drag your left heel back towards you on the mat. And then once you do that, gently fold. So that's where the blocks can come in really handy. If you're not super hamstringy, then blocks can keep you up a little bit higher. And then turn those left toes in a little bit as you drag your heel back. Turn the toes out a little bit as you drag your heel back. Keep zipping up your low belly. Okay, find a neutral place so you can step back, plant your hands, lift your right leg toward the sky, open up the hip, bend the knee, let that left armpit lift so your shoulders are level. Keep lifting that right knee so you start feeling the outer hip muscles. All right, lift that left heel up high, Pivot the toes to the right. Bend your left leg a little bit. You let that right leg start coming over. And then look at your right hand. And your left hand is going to screw into the ground counterclockwise toward the pinky finger. All right, flip it back over again. Lunge the right leg forward, and we're coming into a high lunge. All right, so once you're in your high lunge, we're going to come into warrior three. Take your weight into your right leg. Again, this is a great warrior three where I am right now. As you feel more comfortable and your hamstrings start loosening up, you can hinge more. You can also bend that standing leg. Arms out in front is very challenging. So if you need a little bit more lift in the shoulders, arms out to the sides, or even reaching back behind you is good. All right, we're coming up to standing. So bend that standing leg and then inhale, push into the ground, come up. And exhale, arms to the sides. Take the arms up on the inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step your left leg back. Drop your back knee. All right, take that left arm up and over and stretch over to your right. So from here, you can put a little bit more space between your feet. See if you can drop your hips a little bit. Keep dragging to the midline. And then maybe reach down and touch the ground with your right fingertips. You can also use your block and push into a block. Look up towards your left hand. Let's go for a twist. Take that left arm to the outside of your right leg. Lift your belly, pull it around a little bit. Bring your hands together. And then you're going to flip your back toes over. Push into them so that your left knee is not digging into the ground. So you can still have your left leg mostly bent. And as you feel comfortable, you can start straightening that left leg. But don't feel like it has to go straight right away. And then eventually look over your right shoulder. All right, fold your hands back down to the ground. And then you're going to use one of your blocks under your left shoulder. All 10 toes are pointing forward. Twist again. This time you're going to straighten that leg. So as you inhale, straighten the front leg. You'll feel this more down the IT band, outer hip. Exhale, bend the leg again. Inhale, straighten the leg. Exhale, bend the leg. 3 more. And last one. All right, bring your hands down to the ground. Step back. Lift your left leg toward the sky. Just be starting to feel a little bit lighter. Look up, bring your left knee up into your chest and see if you can touch the back of your left arm. Hold your breath and then take a big exhale. Then inhale, lift the knee up a little bit more, and then exhale, drop it toward the ground. Then inhale, lift it up, and then exhale, drop it down. 3 more. All right, extend back behind you one more time, big inhale. We're going to cross over and try to touch the back of the left arm now. So come forward, shoulders over the wrists, try to touch the back of the right arm. And then try to extend. Inhale, exhale, bring the knee back in. Inhale, extend. Exhale, bend the knee again. 3 more. All right, lunge your left leg forward. And then drop your back knee. And bring your arms to a block or the ground. So take a few moments and catch your breath. Big breaths. You feel a little warm. Might have even broken a sweat on that one. All right, and let's step that right leg forward. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, right leg back. Drop your back leg. All right, same thing here. You may want this block on the left side. Take the arms up. Zip up your belly. Put a little bit more space between the feet so you can drop the hips a little bit more. And then you bring your left hand to the ground or down to the block and stretch over to your left. All right, parlay that big side stretch into a twist. Take that right arm to the outside of your left leg. Lift your belly, pull your rib cage around a little bit. Bring your hands together. Look over your left shoulder. Flip your back toes over and push into the ball of the foot so the knee's not digging into the ground. And then maybe that leg will go a little straighter. All right, go facing the ground again. You can put that block under your right hand, or you can go to the ground with the hand. And then take a moment, straighten that leg, bend it again, and then twist and take that left arm toward the sky. And then inhale, straighten the leg. Exhale, bend the leg. 4 more. All right, and then bring your hands down to the ground. Drop your back knee. And when you are ready, you're going to step back. So take that left leg back. Lift your right leg toward the sky. Take a few breaths here. All right, adding a little bit of core. So you're going to bring that right knee forward. Hold your breath for a moment, and then take a big exhale. And then drop the knee and bring it back up. Exhale, drop, inhale up. Last one. All right, extend back behind you again. Take a big inhale. Now we're going to cross over, which is where a lot of the work happens. Bring that right knee to the back of your left arm as close as you can get. And then inhale, try to extend the leg. Exhale, bring it back in. Inhale, extend. Exhale, bring it back in. 3 more. All right, lunge it forward. Bring your arms to the inside of your leg. Bring your forearms down to a block or down to the ground. Take a moment and catch your breath if you need to. Now let's go to standing. So lift your back knee and step forward. Inhale, reach your heart forward. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, arms to the sides. All right, take a big step back. Turn. You're going to go really wide with your feet. Outer edges of the feet are parallel to the short edges of the mat. Take your arms out, eyeball it. Wrists should be roughly over the ankles. And then interlace your fingers behind your back. Lift your heart on the inhale. Squeeze your inner thighs together. And then exhale, forward bend. So what is most important is not that the arms come off the back. What's most important is that your chin is up. Shoulder blades draw together. Shoulder blades draw together and down your back towards your hips. And then if there's some space to lift, go for it. But keep the chin up. Notice where your weight is in your legs. Make sure you're not sinking into the backs of your heels. Weight should be in the fronts of the heels. And you should have a little bit of weight in your inner heels as well. bend the knees. Inhale, come on up. Release the arms, shake them out a little bit. All right, we're gonna go for a twist. Bring your hands to your hips, lift your heart on the inhale. Exhale, fold. Bring your hands down to the ground. You can also use a block if you're a little tighter in the hamstrings. And then we're gonna go for the twist. So from here, you're gonna take your right hand to the block of the ground. Left arm is gonna swing behind. You're gonna grab any part of your right leg, so anywhere from the thigh to the ankle. Then once you grab, walk your right hand forward or slide your block forward. And then get that right arm next to your ear and then gently twist. Squeeze your inner thighs together and gently pull on the leg so that you're trying to look under your right armpit toward the ceiling. See if you can roll your right shoulder onto your back. So this one, I go for a little bit of a bend in the elbow, and I'll kind of exaggerate a little bit. If you get a little bit more of a bend in the right elbow, you can really roll that shoulder onto your back more, and kind of pull that right elbow back more. So play with that. See if going a little bit more bent in the elbow works better for your shoulder. You're trying to open the shoulder up, get that nice big stretch to the front of the rotator cuff, and get some strength in the back of the rotator cuff. All right, come back to the center. Let's go for the other side. So left hand can come to the block or to the ground. You're gonna take your right arm behind your left arm, grab any part of your leg. Once you've grabbed something, slide your left hand forward a little bit, and gently pull and look under your left armpit. Squeeze your inner thighs together, but then see if you can roll that left shoulder onto your back. And bending that left elbow and getting onto your fingertips can help a lot. So just see if you can work on stretching the front of your shoulder, strengthening the back of your shoulder. Draw your shoulder blade onto your back. Breathe deeply. Squeeze your inner thighs together. Make sure you're not in the backs of the heels. Feel tugging in the knees. Soften the knees a little bit. All right, come back to the center. Bring your hands to your hips. Big inhale as you come up so you don't get dizzy. Turn your right toes toward the short end of your mat. All right, triangle. Take the arms out to the sides. Big inhale. And then drop your right hip a little bit. Reach to your right hand side. Bring your right hand down to your leg somewhere. Take your left arm up. So this is, for a lot of people, a super awkward pose. They always feel like they're doing it wrong. And honestly, you're not doing it wrong. So instead of thinking about that, because it can be really, everybody's a little bit different. Some people have got tight oblique abdominals. Sometimes it's inner thigh, groin, hamstring. Think more about right knee lining up with your middle three toes. So there's a little bit of tendency for that right knee to roll in, and that usually has to do with a tighter inner thigh groin area. Keep trying to roll your right knee out, attack your outer right hip back. So we're gonna go here, and then we're gonna go to the other side, and then we'll add in some core. So bend your right knee, inhale, come on up. Turn your right toes in, turn your left toes toward the front of your mat. Drop your left hip, reach to the left-hand side, bring your hand down to your leg somewhere. Roll that left knee out a little bit more, so you're tacking your outer left hip back towards your inner right thigh. Stick your tailbone out a little bit. Look up towards your right hand. Squeeze your inner thighs together. Keep trying to gently roll that left knee out. All right, bend that front knee. Inhale, come on up. Turn your left toes in, turn your right toes toward the back of your mat again. All right, so now we're gonna do this with some more core involved. Check that outer left foot. Outer left foot should be roughly parallel to the short edge of the mat. And then drop your right hip, reach to the right hand side, bring your right hand down, take your left arm up. Let's add in a little bit of shoulder opener, a little bit of back bend. So you're gonna bring your left hand to the back of your head, push your head back into your left hand. And you'll feel this line of energy coming down your left side when you do that. All right, now I'll take the right arm up. Big breaths. All right, beautiful. Bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, come on up. Turn your right toes in. Turn your left toes toward the front of your mat. Take the arms out to the sides. Drop your left hip a little bit. Reach to the left-hand side. Bring that left hand down. And then bring your right hand to the back of your head and push your head back into your right hand. So you're starting to open up the shoulders a little bit more of a back bend in this posture. And then 5 breaths. Zip up the belly. Take your left arm up. All right, and then come on up. Nice work. All right, toe heel in. We're going to step up to the front of the mat. All right, so next one, we're going to do, we're going to go into warrior two, and then we're going to come into a half moon. So make sure your blocks are handy. Get them up at the top of your mat. We're going to go into warrior two, half moon, and then we're going to work this hip and move through into warrior three and reverse warrior three. So go ahead and start with your left foot forward. And you're going to come into the side of the body, facing the long side of the mat, come into your warrior two. Then, once you have your warrior two, you're going to bring your right hand to your hip, and then find your block. And your block should line up with your pinky toe, probably about 18 inches in front. And then come into your warrior two. So this can be a really tough posture if you've got weak ankles or if you're a little tight on one side of the hip. So keep this in mind that in the middle of the room is fine, but you can also come up to a wall and put just enough room between your foot and the wall that you can just use that wall for a little bit of stability. So I'm just putting my right foot against the wall, and if I'm a little closer to the wall, my butt might be up against the wall, but you have some wiggle room here. So just to keep that in mind, if you're feeling super wobbly, a wall is always a great idea. So stay here. We're about to start changing directions, but we're still on this left leg. Then you're going to start squaring your hips toward the ground, and you can put that block under your right shoulder. You can even use both blocks for that matter. So we're in warrior three. Zip up the low belly. Again, if you're feeling kind of tight in the hamstrings, bend the knee a little bit, especially if you're feeling this behind the knee. Then we're going to go for the hard part, which is really working this right buttocks, trying to lift it up, and stretching and strengthening this left outer hip as well. So the block is under your right shoulder. You bring your left thumb into your left hip crease. Get your right leg a little bit straighter or a little bit higher. Just make sure it's active. Reach your spine forward and then gently twist to your left. It doesn't have to be a huge twist. And then if it feels appropriate, you can always add something extra in. This is just a bigger hip stretch. Bending your right knee, reaching back, grabbing your foot, and pushing your foot into your hand. And then you'll feel a huge stretch happening through the outer left hip and down the IT band. That is optional. All right, see if you can go back to half moon. So just see what you can do. It's okay if you can't. And then you can even grab that right foot. See if you can grab the right foot. We're just trying to strengthen hip muscles here. So whatever you can accomplish is great. All right, come back into warrior two. Now let's go for the other side. So I'll point the other direction just so you can still see what I'm doing. So right toe is pointing forward, and you're going to come into your warrior two. And then we're going to go for a half moon. So block is going to line up with roughly the pinky toe. You're going to take your weight into your right leg. Block is now under my shoulder. Take the left arm toward the sky. Big breathing. Don't forget that it's okay to fall out of this posture. All right, we're going to go for our warrior three. So you can use one block or two. Square up the hips. If you're feeling really sassy today, you don't even have to use blocks. You can just balance. Don't forget to breathe. Remember, if that knee is bugging you, bend your knee a little bit. Keep trying to make sure this back leg is doing some lifting. That's the hard part. All right, block goes under your left shoulder. And then you're going to take your right thumb into your right hip crease. And keep trying to either lift or straighten that left leg as you gently twist to your right. It is very difficult, but keep your attention on it. And then if you feel like making it just a little bit more challenging, you can always grab that left foot. Bigger hip stretch, optional. All right, see if you can come back to your warrior three. See if you can go back to half moon. Do your best. I know this is a long time on one leg, but it gives you an idea of how much work you might need in your hips. That outer hip may need a lot more work than you thought. All right, and then come back down to warrior two. Whew, and then turn your toes in. Forward bend. See if you can bring your hands to your legs or your big toes. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold. Squeeze your legs into the midline. Roll your shoulders onto your back. All right, we're gonna come into a squat. So, toe heel your feet in a little bit. Sink into a squat. Not everybody likes this. 2/3 of the world sits like this on a daily basis. So a lot of people are used to it, but since we tend to sit in chairs, this is not a comfortable posture for a lot of us. So if your knees are grumpy about this, or your inner thighs and groin are grumpy about this, you can sit on a block at any level. This kind of helps a little bit. If you're really, really grumpy through the knees, you may have to hang out more like this. So whatever works for you is fine. As long as you're getting a little bit of an opening in the inner thighs, that is great. It is important to work toward this posture, which doesn't mean you're ever going to achieve it, but this is a great posture for digestion. Your body's sort of made to kind of push in this direction. So just keep that in mind. Try it, but don't force yourself and torture yourself. All right, so see if you can get your heels down a little bit more. My heels are really tight from, my Achilles tendons are really tight, so it's very difficult for me to get my heels down. But I'm getting better. After 30 years of yoga, they're starting to come down a little bit. So bring your hands into your heart center. Squeeze your legs into your arms and press your arms out into your legs. Big breathing. Tighten up your buttocks a little bit. So it's kind of a cheater's way of finding your mula bandha, which is your perineum area, your pelvic floor. So if you tighten up your buttocks a little bit, you may feel kind of a lift in your pelvic floor there. All right, we're going to try for, let's just try for regular Bakasana. Those of you who have been practicing with me for a while, or do you have a good practice, you may want to go for a revolved Bakasana. But Bakasana is great if you have tight, weak wrists. So if you're a female, sometimes getting up on a block is helpful because our center of gravity is in our hips, whereas men's center of gravity is more in the low belly area. So from here, just kind of helps get your center of gravity up. Claw the ground, bend your elbows. Your shins can either come to the backs of your arms or the outside and squeeze in. Lift your chin. This is important. You're like an airplane. If you look down, you will fly that way. So keep looking up, and then you can just kind of play with this. See if your fingers have the strength. You can always bring your feet back to the block if you're on the block. You don't even have to take the feet up. Just kind of play with it and see where you can go. For most of us, this is a wrist finger issue. Eventually, as you add more core in, the core gets stronger and it feels like it's less in the fingers and wrists, but it takes time. Okay, so try this again, but come back into a squat and just take a break. And you may want to kind of shake out your wrist a little bit. You can also place a thumb on the inside of your wrist and press down on the 9 ligaments of your wrist and then shake it out. So if you're feeling a little tight or fatigued there, sometimes this just helps out a little bit. So if this is enough for you, you can lie on your back and do the same posture. I'll demonstrate. But if you also want to do a twisted version, you can do that. So core, pull the knees in, and then boom, you got the same posture working your core. Otherwise, if you'd like to add in a twist for this posture, take the block over to the right, stretch over to your right, hook your left elbow, left arm to the outside of the right leg, flip your hand over, take your other hand down. So you just need to be shoulder distance apart. It doesn't matter which direction your fingers point. And then bend that left elbow, and your legs will rest on the back of your left arm as you try to bring your feet up. So same arms, just a little twist thrown in. See how that feels? Again, you can always be on your back. And let's try the other side. We don't want to fatigue the wrist too much. So take that right arm up and over. Bring that right arm to the outside of your left leg. Claw the ground. Make a little shelf with your left or with your right arm, with your left leg on the back, and then see how that feels. Nice. All right. Roll onto your back. If you're not already there, take your legs up. Bend your knees and grab your big toes and rock from side to side. Okay, we're gonna do pigeon on our backs. So left foot on the ground, cross the right ankle just below the left knee on the thigh. Swing that right knee out. Flex your right toes back toward the knee. So you have a nice straight ankle. And then bring that left leg in. Grab the back of your left thigh or the front of your left shin. And then gently pull that left leg in, but also resist a little bit with the left leg. And then rock from side to side. In a perfect world, you want to roll your tailbone toward the ground and get a little bubble of air under the low back. So see if you can get a little bit more of a curve in your back. Zip up your low belly. Keep pulling that left leg in and gently resisting with the left leg. Okay, if you happen to have more loose hips, and not everybody does, but if you're feeling like this is not much of a challenge, you can go a little deeper. So if you want to go a little bit deeper, you can put your left foot flat on the floor. Take your right arm under your calf near the knee, and take your left arm under the calf near the knee. Now what usually happens for most of us is the right arm goes under pretty comfortably, but the left arm doesn't, which is okay. So if that's the case, your left hand will grab your right foot, and you won't hook your left elbow underneath the shin as well. So that's sort of an intermediate place there. Bring your head and shoulder down, and then breathe deeply. You may even want to extend your left leg and press your left heel into the ground, and you can still rock from side to side. It's a great way to get into the different parts of the hip. If you are really flexible in the hips, and it's a small percentage of us, but it's there. If you're really flexible, you can hook your left elbow around the bottom of your foot and hook the right elbow around the knee, and then clasp your hands on the other side of your shin here, and then pull that shin in to your chest. So breathe deeply wherever you are. You can still be in a regular pigeon here. I'm just giving options for people who are a little bit looser in the hips. Keep rocking gently from side to side. Keep trying to get a little bit of a curve in your low back. The closer that shin comes into your chest, the more your low back wants to flatten out. So just be aware of that. All right, let's go for the other leg. So place your right foot flat on the ground, cross your left ankle just below the right knee on the thigh. Flex your toes back toward the knee. Swing that left knee out just a little bit more, and then take that left arm through the gap in your legs. Grab the back of your thigh or the front of your shin. Keep flexing these toes back toward the knee. And this is pretty important. So if your hip is really tight, what happens is your hip sort of recruits your knee to curve and bend the wrong way, so that the hip has a little bit more space to work with. And the more and more that knee rolls in and bends in, the more your ACL, it's not necessarily the ligament that gets overstretched, but the nerves through that area get a little overstretched, and they can get really touchy. So you want to keep pulling the left pinky toe back toward the knee, make sure your ankle is straight, so that your knee is nice and evenly stretched out on both sides and not curling in. So be aware of that. Roll your tailbone toward the ground, get a little bit of a curve in the low back, rock from side to side a little bit. Big breaths. Keep resisting with that right leg. Keep trying to roll the tailbone toward the ground. And then stay here for as long as you want to. If you happen to be loosening up a bit and you feel like you want to go a little bit deeper, then there are options to go deeper. So you can hook that left elbow under the leg near the knee. You can hook the right elbow under the leg near the ankle. That might be a little bit too much. You may just want to grab onto the foot with your right hand. Put your right foot on the ground. Breathe. You can rock from side to side. And then if it seems appropriate, you can go for a straighter leg and press your right heel into the ground. And just play with it. So this is a round hip socket, mostly round. Some people are a little bit more oval in the hip sockets than others, but essentially what you're trying to do is just get all sides of the hip socket, right? There's some tight parts on the groin area. There are usually tight parts on the outside of the hips. Sometimes we have some hamstring stuff, so there's just kind of experimenting and rocking and rolling. You want to go a little deeper, you can always hug. But again, this is a very small percentage of us who pull the shin in all the way, so don't feel like you need to go there. Big breathing. Take about 3 or 4 more big breaths. All right, we are going to come up to a seated posture. So go for a happy baby dead bug again. Extend the left leg, let the right heel come in. Left leg may not extend fully, that's okay. And then extend the right leg and let the left heel come in. See how that right leg does. Do it one more time to each side. Extend your left leg, bring your right heel in. Make sure you're taking deep breaths. And go for the other side. Extend your right leg, bring your left heel in. All right, now let's try for both legs. So roll your tailbone toward the ground, get a little bubble of air under your low back if you can, and try to extend both legs. They may not go totally straight. It's okay. Do your best though. All right, let's roll up and down. So do a few rolls. It'll be a little bit of a massage on your back. And come out to a seated posture. Okay, so we're going to go for the fish, Lord of the Fishes pose, Matsyendrasana. So your left foot's going to come under your right hip. Your right foot, this is a little bit different for everybody, depending on your knees. So if you've got a bad knee, your leg's going to go straight, and your foot will be to the inside or crossover. If you don't have a bad knee, right foot is going to come to the inside of the knee or the outside of the knee, but that foot is back by the hip. Then you're going to take your block behind you. So the important thing about this posture, and this is mostly to keep your SI joint stable, you want to keep this right foot pressing firmly into the ground. So try not to let it peel up off the ground. Then you're going to take your right hand to the block behind you. You're going to push down into it so that it's a second spine, so you get some lift through the spine. Then you're going to hug onto the right leg, the right knee with your left hand. Lift nice and tall and twist and look over your right shoulder. Notice how your right foot in front wants to pop up off the ground a little bit, so try to keep it planted. If this feels pretty good, you can take your left elbow to the outside of your right leg. Keep pushing into the block behind you so you can get some more lift in the spine. So the longer your spine is, the better your twist is, right? And that's pretty obvious. As you lengthen the vertebra and the space between the vertebra and the discs, then there's more space to twist. So keep pushing down into the block and gently press into your right leg with your left hand. Pull your front ribs in a little bit and look over your right shoulder. Remember to breathe, and the easiest place to breathe right now is into your back and into your sides. There's not a whole lot of space to breathe into the front of the rib cage. All right, come back through the center. Let's go for the other side. Actually, let's do a counter twist. So keep the legs, and you're going to twist over to the left. Go wide with your arms and do a tiny little push-up. And really just trying to bring your chest closer to the ground. Right rib cage is going to twist down, left rib cage lifts up. Should feel really good in the back. All right, and then come on out of this and let's go for the other side. So right leg is either straight or it comes in under your left hip. Left foot is to the inside of the knee or the outside of the knee, whatever you can do to keep that foot flat. And then you're going to take that block behind you, press that left foot flat on the ground, hug your left knee. Your left hip might be popping off the ground a little bit. It's okay. And then from here, you're spiraling up from the hips up to the neck. So press into the block behind you, lift it super tall, and then the twist starts at the bottom of the spine, comes up the spine. Eventually you're going to look over your left shoulder, left foot tries to stay planted, pull the front ribs in, keep pushing down into the block with your left hand. You may be able to take your right elbow, hook it around and press gently back. Don't forget to breathe. And again, the breath is going to happen in the back and in the sides. All right, come back to the center, counter twist. So keep the legs. You're going to bring the arms over pretty wide, wider than shoulder distance. And then twist your left rib cage toward the ground and lift your right rib cage. All right, and then come out of that one. And let's do a double, let's do cow face. So if we're doing cow face, there's a good chance you're going to need your strap. So make sure it's nearby. All right, so left leg under, right leg over. Again, same thing with the knees. If you have a bad knee, that bottom leg can be straight. And then knees roughly stacked over each other. And then we're going to go ahead and go for a side stretch and then forward. So if your right leg is on top, you're going to bring your left hand out to the side. Take the right arm over and stretch over to the left side. Eventually you'll drop that left elbow. This tends to be the easy side, the easier side to drop your left elbow. Look up into your right hand. All right, come back up, go to the other side. It's a little bit tougher. So we did a great twist, and you shouldn't feel this as much in the oblique abdominals. You'll probably feel this more in the hip. Right elbow may or may not touch the ground, but go ahead and get that nice hip stretch. And arms. So right leg's over, which means the left arm will be over. You're going to grab that left elbow, pull it behind your head, and then right arm, thumb down, bring the hand behind you. See if you can grab your hands behind your back. If you cannot grab your hands, you got a strap. You put the strap in your left hand and see if you can grab your strap. If you are super tight in the shoulders, then I wouldn't even recommend this posture because you probably feel some pinching in the front of that right shoulder. If that's the case, take your left arm, grab your right hand and pull your fist around. So my fist is over on my left side and I'm getting a big stretch through the front of the right shoulder. So you have a few options here depending on how tight your shoulders are. We want to avoid impingement. So impingement is where your shoulder is basically pressing in on itself and you'll feel a pinch, right? An impingement. So if you feel that, do this third posture that I'm doing instead of the full-blown posture here. And then maybe a bit of a forward bend. All right, come on out of it, switch legs. So right leg underneath can be straight. If you need a little extra space for your knee, we're gonna go to the right side first, since the left leg is on top. So right arm out, left arm over, extend, look up into that left hand. The really cool thing is that all this side stretching we're doing is making it really nice to do some back bends. So we're warming everything up, do some fun back bends. So come on up, let's go for the other side. Left hand to the ground, right arm over, maybe that left elbow drops. We're just trying to get into that connective area. So You can feel them, the oblique abdominals, the intercostals, connecting your ribcage to your hips, but you can also feel the hip, right? Look up into your right hand. All right, come on up. Now, left leg is on top, so right arm is on top. See if you can pull that right arm behind your head a little bit. So you're getting a tricep stretch here. And then left thumb down, bring the hand around. You can use a strap, so that strap can be in the right hand. Again, if you feel pinching in the left shoulder, especially in the front, then ignore that right hand, grab the left hand with your right and pull that fist around towards your right side. Avoid impingement. We do not want to do postures that might look okay, but don't feel okay. And then wherever you are, forward bend. Okay, so last one, a little bit of core, and we'll come into our back bends. So from here, you're gonna have a block on either side. This is traditionally done without blocks, but the blocks do give you a little bit of lift. So you're gonna grab the backs of your thighs. You can go with bent knees. Bent knees is fantastic. You're still using a lot of core. You can even cheat and keep grabbing the backs of the thighs. So go for that. If you feel like you've got a strong back and strong core, stronger anyway, you feel like you're not collapsing in your back here, lifting your chest, then you can go for straight legs. You can also extend. And there's another really fun one where you can bring your fingertips back behind you and kind of push into the ground. And that helps open up the shoulders, but also keeps that back nice and long. You're still using a lot of back muscle and belly muscle. So whatever works for you. 2 more breaths. All right, cross your ankles, try to keep them off the floor, get those knees up. Then you're gonna use your blocks for a little extra help. And you're gonna lean forward, keep your feet up, and see if you can get your hips off the ground. And then number 2. And cross and lift. Number 3. And cross and lift. Number 4. And cross and lift. And number 5. And cross and lift. Okay, now back bend. So come onto your belly. Take a moment, make a little pillow with your hands. Place your cheek on your hands and rest for a moment. If your low back is killing you, which is feasible if your low belly was not supporting you well enough, you can also take a nice momentary child's pose. Get it stretched out. So both of those are great options. You decide. If you're on your belly, zip up your belly a little bit. So it's almost as if you're trying to pull your low belly off the floor. It's not really going to come off the floor, but just engage it slightly so it supports your low back. All right, let's go for a cobra. So extend your left leg, lift it up, turn the left knee into midline, bring it back down. Extend your right leg, stretch it, turn the knee into midline, bring it back down. Pull your ankles in toward each other. They don't have to touch, just squeeze in as if you're squeezing a block between your ankles. And then roll your pubic bone toward the ground, zip up your low belly like you're putting on a tight pair of pants. Take your hands wide off the mat. Roll your shoulders onto your back. So I like to start on my fingertips, but some people like to come down to the ridges of their hands or the palms of their hands. So you just pick. And then from here, roll the shoulders on your back, push up, pull the belly in, pull the front ribs in. So it's really just sort of a pseudo cobra, shoulders down, but you're working on extending those legs, super, super long legs. Belly pulls in, shoulders drop down, pull the front ribs in, gives you a little bit more back bend here, and you can start pulling into this a little bit more strongly in a moment. So go ahead and come on down, make a little pillow, turn your head to one side. The hands are going to come in a little bit closer to the mat this time, and a little bit closer to your chest this time. So hands can still be on the edges of the mat, but now you're going to walk them back a little bit more. Really extend the legs, roll your pubic bone toward the ground, zip up your belly, roll your shoulders onto your back, and then push up. Again, you can have some slightly bent elbows. Drop the shoulders, make sure you have a long neck, extend through the legs. The legs are really important here. If your legs are just floppy, it's all going to happen in your back, and your back is not going to be happy with you. So the more you can extend your legs, the more your spine will extend, and you'll be able to pull the belly and pull the front ribs in, and get some nice bend in the spine, but with a lot of space between the vertebrae and discs of your back. All right, one more time. Make a little pillow, turn your head to one side. All right, we're gonna go back into another cobra with our hands slightly farther back. Keep working on shoulders down. If you need to bend your elbows a lot, that's okay. So hands back, now in line with your waist. So I have a pretty bent elbow here, right? Roll the shoulders onto your back, extend your legs, press your toes into the ground, roll your pubic bone toward the ground, zip up your belly, push down. And if you have to have bent elbows, that's fine. So you can do that, shoulders down. Eventually, arms are going to be straighter, and you're going to be lifting more chest up toward the ceiling. And my legs are extending like crazy. They feel like fire hoses shooting water out of the bottoms of the feet. So super, super long legs. Zip up the belly, pull the front ribs in, drop the shoulders. Maybe look up toward the ceiling, and you can even kind of look over your right shoulder, get a little neck stretch, look over your left shoulder. All right, child's pose. One more, we're gonna do a bow, Dhanurasana. So come onto your belly, bend your knees. We're gonna do 2 of these, so if you can only grab 1 foot at a time, that's okay. You can also use a strap to put around your ankle. Squeeze your legs together, and then you're gonna push into your hand or hands, zip up the belly, pull the front ribs in, don't forget to breathe. And if you're breathing really deeply, you might actually end up rocking a little bit as your diaphragm pushes up and down. All right, and then release, make a pillow, turn your head to the side. Let's do another one, grab the other leg or both feet again. Squeeze your legs in the midline and push. Pull that belly in. Pull your ribs in. And release. Plant your hands, turn your cheek. All right, I'm a big fan of getting upside down, so at a minimum, do dolphin. You can also do this up against the wall. So you want a block on either side of your hands. This just keeps your hands from sliding in. Dolphin is fantastic. Press your chest toward your toes. If you're feeling this between your shoulder blades, excellent. Look up at the ground between your elbows. This is a fantastic place to hang out and build up strength in your backs of your shoulders. If you're pretty familiar with this, you can take a leg up. That adds a little bit more work. Your shoulders have to work a little harder. Eventually, you're going to walk up a wall, or you can take a couple little hops and just see if you can come up into it. So that's one way. But if you're a little bit more timid about coming up, a wall is great. So you get close to the wall, find your dolphin, take a foot up against the wall, and then you can hang out here with your feet on the wall. This is my favorite posture in terms of inversions, and that's because I have tight shoulders. So it really helps me strengthen the backs of my shoulders and loosen up the fronts. So if you're a tight shoulder person, probably a posture you should be working on. If you're like, yeah, no, not into this, I really am done with my practice this morning, this is another great inversion. So again, against a wall, you can put your legs up against the wall, or just hang out here with a block under your hips. Also fantastic, lowers your blood pressure. Very relaxing. Inversions are awesome. If you're practicing forearm balance right now, go ahead and come out of that, take a little break, and then you can still take your legs up, but we want to start dropping our blood pressure now. And you can also put your feet on the ground, take your block up to about medium level, and let your hips rest on the block, and that's a fantastic variation as well. It's really nice for the SI joint if you tend to have sort of loose SI joint, low back pain. Really great. So don't feel like you have to put your legs all the way up. This is still an inversion. As your blood pressure drops, pay attention to your breath. See if you can make your exhales longer than your inhales. And as always, if you'd like another 5 or 10 minutes to do Shavasana, please elect to do that. If you need to get up, then take a moment and remove any blocks. Let's go for a full body stretch. Take the arms up over your head. And your legs a little bit closer together and stretch. Big inhale. And a big exhale. Relax. And one more time, we're going to hold the stretch for 5 counts. Take a big inhale, stretch it out. Hold it on 1, on 2, on 3, on 4, on 5. Big exhale, relax. And you can hug your knees into your chest and roll gently from side to side. You can roll up and down your mat or over to the side. And again, if you want to rest in Shavasana for a little longer, please do. And then take a moment to recognize that a huge part of yoga is the ritual of being present, being here. It's not about whether or not you can put your foot behind your head. So take a moment to thank yourself for getting up and trying to create this space for yourself. And putting a little bit more peace out there into the world. Bring your hands up to your forehead for kind thoughts, down to your lips for kind words, and down to your heart center for kind intentions. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.